All right, hello everyone, and welcome. Have you ever walked out of a movie and felt like the world just looked a little different? Well, that's the power of film. Today, we are going to dive deep into how cinema does so much more than just entertain us. It actually helps construct our reality. And this is a huge topic for your AMC studies, so let's get right into it.
So, I want you to keep this question right at the front of your mind as we go through our session today. Because here's the thing, films are never just stories. Nope, they are incredibly powerful tools that actively shape how we understand the world around us.
And just so you know where this fits in, this whole explainer is designed to tackle Theme 2 of your AMC program, Representations of the World, or Representations of the World. Specifically, we're focusing on Axis 3, how these representations get out there and influence us through the media. We're going to explore how filmmakers create these powerful images and, how they really impact our own ideas and beliefs.
Okay, so this leads us to our big question for today. Do films just reflect the world as it is, kind of like a mirror, or do they actively construct a vision of the world for us? It might seem like a small difference, but trust me, it is absolutely central to everything we're going to analyze.
I love this quote from one of our source documents. It tells us that filmmaking is basically a language. It has its own vocabulary, its own grammar, the whole shebang. And the best part is, you already get it. You understand it intuitively every time you watch a movie. Our job today is to learn how to break it down, how to decode it on purpose. All right, so if cinema is a language, let's learn some of the basics, right? We're going to break it down into two really fundamental parts: what you see on the screen and what you hear coming out of the speakers.
First up, a key term you absolutely need to know, mise en scène. Now, it's a French term from the theater, and it literally means placing on stage. In a film, it's everything in the frame: the setting, the props, the costumes, the lighting, and nothing, nothing is there by accident. Think about it. A character's bedroom. Is it super neat or a total mess? Is it bright and sunny or dark and shadowy? These are all choices the filmmaker makes to tell us something important about who that character is.
In the camera itself, it's one of the main storytellers. Just look at these movements. A slow pan across a landscape can make it feel huge and epic. A fast track shot that follows a character running puts us right there in the middle of the action. Every single movement is a grammatical choice that tells us where to look and how to feel.
Okay, let's switch gears to sound, which is honestly just as powerful as the visuals. The most important idea you need to grasp for your analysis is the difference between diegetic and non-diegetic sound. So, as you can see here, diegetic sound is part of the film's world. The characters can actually hear it, but non-diegetic sound, that's just for us, the audience. Getting this right is a total game changer.
And this is the perfect example of non-diegetic sound in action. That famous dun-dun-dun-dun music in Jaws, the people swimming in the ocean can't hear it, but we can. And it tells us everything. It builds that incredible suspense and basically manipulates our emotions, proving that what we hear is every bit as important as what we see.
So, now let's see how this language of sight and sound comes together to build bigger things. Filmmakers use all these techniques to create familiar patterns that, we call them genres. Like westerns, horror movies, romantic comedies. Each one has its own rulebook, its own set of expectations, and, this is the important part, its own way of representing the world.
Now this is where it gets really interesting. We can actually use theories like Levi-Strauss's idea of binary oppositions to decode a whole genre. The Western, for example, is built around these really simple but super powerful conflicts. You've got nature versus civilization, man versus woman, good versus bad. These oppositions are like the ideological skeleton that holds the whole story up.
And this is why all this matters. These genre rules are never neutral. As this quote from our source material points out, the way Native Americans were often shown in classic westerns reinforces a very specific and pretty problematic cultural idea. By connecting them to the wild, the genre is making a powerful ideological statement. This right here is the kind of critical thinking you should be aiming for in your work.
Okay, but what about films that say they're showing us the real world? This brings us to the really fascinating and often kind of blurry line between fiction films and documentaries.
At first glance, the difference seems pretty straightforward, right? Fiction films use actors and scripts to create this illusion of reality. Meanwhile, we expect documentaries to give us the truth, to show us what really happened. But is it really that simple?
Well, this classic example from Nanook of the North, one of the very first documentaries ever made, proves it's not. The director actually staged this scene to make it more dramatic. And what this shows us is a fundamental truth.
All filmmaking, even a documentary, involves choosing what to show, framing it in a certain way, and constructing a narrative. No film is ever a pure, objective window onto reality.
Okay, so we've explored all these cool concepts. Now, for the really important part. Let's pull it all together. We're going to turn these ideas into a practical method that you can use to build your arguments for your AMC assessments and, of course, for the baccalaureate.
Seriously, mastering this simple three-step structure is your secret weapon. You start with your main idea. Then you back it up with a specific example from the film. And finally, this is the most important part, you explain how that example proves your point. This idea, example, explanation formula will make your analysis clear, coherent, and way more convincing.
And finally, to make your analysis sound even sharper, you've got to use the right terminology. These words you see here, representation, ideology, framing, they aren't just fancy buzzwords. They are precise tools for analysis that show your examiner that you really understand how films create meaning. Because in the end, this is about way more than just passing an exam. It's about becoming a more critical, a more active, and a more aware viewer. So the next time you sit down to watch a film, don't just let it wash over you. Be an analyst. Look for that hidden language and ask yourself, what vision of the world is this film trying to build for?